Excellent job, and Deron Jones also is in there, and I know we've seen him most of the night on defense. It looks like they're walking off another penalty against South here.
Another 15 yards.
South is not setting a good tone here for the second half. They're gonna have to quit giving the yardage up here. They've given them 30 yards of this drive so far on just penalties.
You know what's really, I look over there, there's Kevin, 80, Sneed, 42, Cedric Brock, 25, and Deron Jones, 40. And I'm not trying to mean anything of this. There's Al Sneed, 46, and Vialba, 33. Now, those 5 are all returning starters, plus some of the linemen. We need to be playing stronger defense.
A lot of experience and a lot of speed in those backs.
Good stop, good spin by Al Sneed, number 46, and guess who was also in that play, number 78, John?
He was there. Again, Mike, I think not to pinpoint any particular group on this defense, but again, I still feel like Grapevine is winning the war on the line of scrimmage.
Well, those linemen are, like you said earlier, being able to get out and get in our backs and our linebackers' face, and that, even though you don't like it, and I didn't like it when I played it, your job as a lineman is to clog the middle up and let nobody escape to get on your linebackers and backs for blocks. That left guard moved again, John. I'm starting to agree with you. But that was Chambers again. Excuse me, that was Danny Island for a gain of 1.
David Wright, number 71, also 78. Again, Clarence Nevels, I isolated him on that play, and I tell you what, he's sticking his nose up in there. You're not going to find a tougher group of linebackers than you have on south side of the ball, but they're going to give up. They're naturally going to give up some size against the bigger offensive line, and when the lineman gets out and gets into them, the back's going to have an extra 2 or 3 yards. That's all there is to it.
Third down and big third down. It's a rollout. Henderson rolls back, throws back. We got a little screen pass here. Al Sneed needs to make the play, and he didn't. And Danny Island, but I tell you what, we got a little saving grace. On the 20-yard line, I believe we're going to have a holding call against them, John.
Yeah, they're trying to hash this out, and they're conferring with South captain. So
a clipping at the 20, but that was, John, that was a 25-yard gain there on a throwback pass to Danny Island, what we call a hitch screen. Steps back, hitches, blocker in front of him.
What happens a lot of times as that play develops, you get an offensive lineman that hold normally about a 3-second count, and at the end of that count, they normally flare out to either the right or the left. In this case, it was the right side. And what happens to you as an offensive lineman when you get out there in the open field, you got people for a change that have an opportunity to see you make a block out in the open field. I mean, this is your chance to really shine as an offensive lineman in front of everybody. A lot of times you get a little too anxious, and if a defensive player turns his back, or if you've got a marginal block there that you might accidentally get your head behind the defensive player, you'll go ahead and throw that block. They'll throw the flag on you. Instead of being a hero, you end up being a heel.
A goat, as they say. Well, now we're back to third down because it was from the forward motion of the ball. Third down and 10. It's a handoff, and Chambers is roaming, and there's a first down, John. The leaky defense is not doing his job, and there's quick 10 yards, and Chambers has another 10 yards. There's a new player on the field for the Warriors, John. I don't know how long he's been out there, and I apologize. Neil McNamara, who's a junior, number 63, has come in.
Sure is. That was just a straight draw then. The quarterback dropped back, handed off to Chambers. South has got to keep them in a hole. When they've got them 3rd and 10, they just can't allow them to have the open field like that. They've got 4th and 1.
John, look how tight that line is, that's the offensive line. There's a play, though, right there.
And they move again, they're controlling the middle.
Now there's a quarterback sneak. Everybody knew what was coming because you saw that line bunch in like an extra point. I mean, they were tighter than they usually were, and he got 2 yards just coming off his center.
Mike, they really didn't give him a very good spot on that.
They occurred him a yard on the spot.
Sure, if I was Grapevine's coaches, I think I'd be after him a little bit on the spot. They moved it back about a yard and a half, but again, they're just Grapevine's offensive line is just putting their head down and going. They're going straight ahead, full speed, and they're saying, here we come, and just all you got to do is stop us.
Man in motion, which is Island. It's a handoff right up the middles, and that's going to be a touchdown, folks. Whoops, a saving tackle.
Number 25.
By Cedric Brock, but Chambers roamed for 16 yards.
Warriors with number 25, Cedric Brock.
What can I say, folks?
Jason Viaba's coming off the field, and I have not noticed him being taken off goal line before, and I noticed that Nick Jr. had talked with him as he came off. I don't think he's injured. It looks as though maybe he's just getting a little bit of a breather here, and in his place, number 56, Bobby Cullum, comes in.
Power football, and here it comes. Power to the near side. And that's all that is, folks, and that's 6.5 yards. Make it 7. Make it 6. 6 yards of power football. I hate to call the play, and we can see what's going to happen up here, but once again, the defense still has to read their keys. But, John, when they get power to that side, they give it the deep back, and they have not run a counter yet. They've come to their power side every time tonight.
Right. I'm interested, too, at this point, inside the 5. A lot of times inside the 10, you'll see the defense getting a goal line, and South wasn't in a goal line then. I'm interested to see if they're going to fill the gaps now, which they are getting into the gaps and pulling everybody in.
But we're power to the far side. Good money says, well, here we come, power to the far side.
A good play there, but a missed tackle.
Well, they read the power. They had the wing back, the flanker, and the tight end on the far side of the field to us, and they powered over there, and it was a loss of 2 by Chambers. But Chambers, before that carry, John, had 131 yards, which means he came in with round 80, so he's already run up 50-something yards just in this drive.
And he's still on a pace to hit that 200-plus yard game. Mike, I'm not really sure how long that Nevels has been playing that linebacking spot, and we didn't have him really as the starter, but he's right at home at that right side linebacker. He is really feeling.
Island is hurt. Quarterback has to keep it, and a busted play gets them about 4 yards, but Danny Island, and I'll guarantee you, folks, he just messed his knee up. You can see him when the camera comes back to him. Well, camera can catch him. I hope the camera finds him right there. They just went by him. We can go back to Island, and I'll guarantee you he grabbed that right knee, John, when he slipped, and he's hurt.
It's really easy to grab a cleat on the turf. One of the
somebody else is down too. There's another one down, John.
Yeah, one of the great advantages of AstroTurf, of course, whether it's inclement weather or whether it's dry, is the cutting ability that you have. And if you looked at all the players' shoes, they're normally kind of nubby cleats that you have. You don't have real long cleats, but anybody that's ever played on it will tell you that it grips, your shoes grip to it to such a great extent that it's real easy even for you to rub blisters on your feet. It looks as though he's up now and is able to jog off the field on his own power.
No, he isn't. It's hurting him. He just pulled up lame over there. Sean Kerr, number 1, with 4th down and goal, is going to try a 20-yard field goal from the right hash mark. A high snap. Let's see what he does with this. Well, at least he didn't get a touchdown out of it. And the Warriors will take over. There's a break, John. The Warriors take over on their 11.5-yard line.
Mike, I'm not sure, but when they were taking him off the field then, I don't know whether he's had that problem before, but he almost looked as though he had dislocated his
I can't
knee.
believe with a knee injury they didn't carry him off, but he got about halfway off and pulled up lame again.
Sure did. It was kind of a strange, awkward position that his leg was in as well, so you've got to think that there might be a little bit more than just a minor problem there.
Hartman's a man under. They're going to keep it on the ground, we hope. Hand off to Lawrence, the deep back. Makes 2 good moves to the open field. He's to the outside. He's on the 30, the 35, and he's pushed out of bounds. Mark him at the 35-yard line. The best run from scrimmage. 23 yards for Gerald Lawrence and a good run from scrimmage, and mark it just outside the 35-yard line, John, and he showed some speed that time.
Yeah, he did, and once he broke through that initial line of scrimmage, he had one guy really to beat within that 2 or 3 yard range, and it was number 20, Son Oakland, and within the last 2 plays, Grapevine has had 3 guys that have been injured really basically the same way. Oakland tried to set his outside foot, and when he did, it just gave way. It was either an ankle or a knee, and he's off the field now.
Hartman in a roll out, pass run option. He's going to run. He gets chased down, and you're going to give him a gain of 1 yard. He got chased down from behind, but, John, I don't think he ever planned on putting the ball up. Now, the ball would have been thrown if he put it up. It would have gone to Shepard. Shepard, number 2, was out in the flat about 15 yards down the field, but he was well covered.
Number 32, Chambers, made the defensive play, and
Stanley.
I'm sorry?
That's Stanley Chambers.
Stanley, right. Stanley Chambers, and he beat a block in order to get to Heath, and I believe if they had made that block, I think Heath would have had some running room.
We're going to power football Lawrence to the 21. And he starts at the 34, and he carries down John to the 43, so give Lawrence a gain of about 7 and brings up a big 3rd down and 3. And we haven't mentioned so far this year, John, but Warriors better find a little momentum, and they need this 1st down.
Sure do. This is an important play, a very makeable.
If they make this 1st down, we want to reset the tape, if the tape people are listening. Good drive, good knee drive, good follow-through, good effort by Gerald Lawrence, and he goes down with a gain of 7 yards, and it'll be a 1st down. And if we possibly can, we'll reset the tape.
Of all the men, of all the heroes, of all the stars, no one stands taller than John Wayne. Superstation TBS salutes John Wayne with 20 of his finest films the week of October 8th. Channel 17.
Welcome back. We just missed one play, 1st and 10 from the 47, and Lawrence carried off right tackle on just a deep handoff to let him pick his spot, and he got 5 yards and brings up 2nd down and 5. And the Warriors are trying to find momentum, John, with 3 minutes left, and I'd sure hate to try to score 14 in the 4th quarter, but the game is not over. Hartman comes to the line. Gary Howard, 34, Gerald Lawrence, 21. The deep backs. Fakes to Howard. It's an option play. Hartman is going to score. He's in the open, and I don't think they'll catch him, John, and there's a touchdown right there. Heath Hartman on an option play. He faked to Lawrence. He kept it off tackle for 44 yards and a touchdown, John.
That's with 3 minutes and 13 seconds left.
And they're back in the game
quarter,
now.
And I'll tell you what, that may right there have been the play that they needed to kind of turn things around. And I felt like, Mike, all along that series of downs that that the offense really was starting to get a little bit of a rhythm. And I know I saw it especially in the offensive line play. The offensive line was starting to kind of get their blows in on the line of scrimmage there, and as you saw, it was not hard to tell that some of the backs were experiencing a little bit more success because of that.
David Gray, number 14, they'll make the decision after this one. They want this point, and they've got this point. If they can score again, then, John, that's when they decide if they want to go for 2. You don't have a decision on the first one. You got to get that 7 on the board, because then the second one, if they can score it, doesn't mean anything. So it's with 3 minutes and 13 seconds, with a 44-yard run from scrimmage by Heath Hartman on an option play, keeper by the quarterback. The score is now 14-7.
I'm not sure, Mike, but he may have taken over the leading rusher stats.
No, I think Lawrence was up in the 70, 75. Let's see, how many yards does Lawrence have? We know all this. Lawrence has 82 yards.
82, okay.
You know, he's had 3 good gainers down here in the first part of that series.
Yeah, that's exactly
Lawrence
right.
carried the mail till we got right there.
I tell you, Lawrence has got to be congratulated on that series of downs, because he really had some individual efforts that we saw on several of the carries that he was responsible for, and just refused to go down. It took 3 or 4 different people to bring him down.
Well, 3 minutes and 13 seconds. You're down 14-7. And how big was this 4th down play over here on the bad snap for the field goal? Is that one we're going to put in the memory bank for maybe later, John?
That's got to be one that we remember, and it's just almost hard to imagine that South is only 7 points away from tying this game up. As much difficulty as they've had on defense, and as much as many problems as they've had getting their offense to execute, it's almost a blessing that they're just 7 points behind.
I didn't get the ball carrier, number 22, I believe. Chris Dalton, or would that be Stanley Chambers? Chris Dalton, number 22. Now, John, we talked about this last year, and we talked about it for years. This is a defensive series. The South has to shut them down right here. They cannot let them burn 4 or 5 minutes marching down the field.
No, they really need, if they want to win the game, South has really got to be thinking about scoring twice at this point. They can't really depend on going down scoring and making a 2-point conversion. The coaches at this point, I'll tell you right now, are thinking about going down and scoring twice, at least a touchdown and a field goal.
Well, line didn't give quite as much. We had Henderson handing off to our famous Chris Chambers, and I guess we've held him really in perspective a gain of about 3, John, and that was pretty good line play.
It sure was, and again, the last guy up off the ground was Clarence Nevels. He seems to be able to get his head in on just about every play that at least somewhere, whether it be in the beginning or the end of the tackle, he seems to be in on almost every one.
If I'm saying that right, was also on that tackle, number 89, John. Okay, big second down. You'd like to hold him here and put some pressure on that 3rd down play. Option quarterback, and he ain't. Oops. Well, there's the halfbacks coming up, John.
You bet. They had some good pursuit on that, and I can promise you that that once number 17 Henderson saw that he had broke that first tackle, he almost wished that after second thought that he had gone ahead and gone down.
I believe it's Toris Wilder,
yeah,
number 46,
sure is
limping. Now, with the trainers on the field, no matter how good he tells them he feels, he has to come off the field for one play.
I'm sure that he's going to be glad to, because he's favoring an ankle or a knee there pretty badly. Hopefully we'll see him back in a play or two. The turf seems to kind of taken its toll tonight. I'm not sure whether players are hurting other players or whether players are getting hurt from the turf.
There's
he was
a
wide
big
open
play right
then,
there.
Mike.
He was wide open and didn't hit him, and guess who's got a punt, John?
I would say that was a great defensive series then for the South Grand Prairie Warriors.
John, when we don't talk about him much, I mentioned a while ago Dr. Gary Gurkoff, who's the team physician, who's down there because he loves football to help the kids, but also our 2 trainers. And right after this snap, John's going to talk a little bit about how important they are to the team. There's a deep, good,
wow, what a punt.
big-time punt there.
He turned that one over.
Ball turned over, and 27. He's got a lane, John. He has a lane. T-block right there. He's on the lane. He's at the 50 of the 45. And let me tell you, Kevin Horn, number 80, broke somebody in 2 at the 35-yard line. And there's the coaches giving him a high five.
I'll tell you what, some of the offensive players that were over on the sideline then and saw Kevin Horn's block, I can promise you are out on the field and are inspired at this point. So you might put that one in the memory bank as well. When an offensive group
that was
sees
Saunders on the run, John. I'm sorry, 27.
Okay, when an offensive group sees one of their teammates make a play and make a bone-crushing block like that, they come out and have some goosebumps on their skin.
45-yard line, man under Lawrence looking for a hole. He moves and gets 5 yards, and there wasn't much there, John. He had to wait for a block.
Mike, I can look down on the sideline right now, and this is the most fired up that we've seen the sideline all night. I think South may have something going here that is really good timing on their part. If you're going to get the momentum going, the last quarter and the last half is when to do it.
He made a great punt, John, but he outkicked his coverage.
Yes, he did.
Kicked it too far, folks, if you can believe that. John might explain that in a minute. Hartman, the man under, Hand off to Lawrence in the deep back, and whoa, he was one man short, John.
Number 21, Gerald Lawrence with the carry.
Number 72 for Grapevine lost his helmet, and I can
57 gave him a hit that he's going to remember for a while.
I can promise you that the pace has picked up on the south side of the ball.
The offensive line is seeing blood out there right now.
That was number 57, which I think has got to be one. I always said that the center had to be your best athlete on the field.
We both think that the center, nothing, remember my statement, folks, nothing starts till the center wants to play ball.
Exactly. Robert Sevey was the man that laid the block on number 72 then, that actually de-helmeted
Hayes
the player.
deep to this side. Twin backs. Lawrence is going to get the handoff, and he's in the wide open to the outside.
He's got some area.
The speed. They've got the angle on him, though, but he's run out of bounds on the 18-yard line. And tell me that offense isn't high as a kite now. Give Lawrence 21 yards on the carry, John.
Number 6, Will Harris.
And if they hadn't had the angle, number 6, who is that number 6, John, for them?
Number 6 on their team is Will Harris. He had some speed as well as the angle, but actually never did bring Gerald down, but he got him out of bounds.
You can just about put money on Lawrence being the mail carrier, folks. Splits to both sides. Howard, the blocking back, moves. Now he shifts back to the left. And it's power football right up the middle. And I tell you, there was nothing there. And Lawrence got 3 yards, John. That's the difference in the first half and this half. He got tackled at the line of scrimmage, and his momentum got him 3 yards.
Not a bad play. And I'll tell you that one main difference, if you were down on the field right now, when you got into South huddle, where it was quiet, that's the end of the quarter, by the way. While it was quiet in that huddle during the first half, you got some players that are in there talking it up right now and encouraging one another. And
John,
I'm going to hold Kevin Horn a lot of responsibility for that.
Quarters, Gerald Lawrence with 111 yards. He's catching up with Chambers now.
Every time back in the huddle, I'm sure he's saying, let me have the ball, and y'all just get out of my way. He knows that the linemen are blocking and opening up some big holes, and when Gerald gets into that secondary, he's a man that has to be contended with when he gets into the secondary.
The tailback in this offense has to be the leader, because he's going to carry the ball 20, 30 times. So we're going to find out how many times Lawrence has carried the ball, and I think you're going to find it's probably over 20.
If Coach Ezell had
carried the ball 15 times, John.
If Coach Ezell had a uniform available to his possession right now, he would be on the field in about 10 seconds.
Well, how about our linebacker coach? He's going to have a heart attack down there, who is an ex-Warrior football player, by the way.
You know, when Coach Horton started this game, I could have sworn that he had a full head of hair, and I'm looking down there now, and I almost think that I can see a little bit of a balding spot back on the
second down, 7 yards to go. Man in motion. Hartman power football. They've got the angle. Howard needs to make a block. Howard gets a nudge block. And we've got a flag down, John.
21, Gerald Lawrence with the carry.
And I don't know what it was, but Howard, the block Howard made, didn't get his man down, but it was a clean block, so I don't know who the other block was on.
And he made pretty good yardage. He made about 4 yards on the play. Was within about 2 yards.
Oh, big penalty, clipping on the Warriors. Now, I'll tell you, folks, I wish we had instant replay, because it might have been somebody else, but Gary Howard's block was not a clip, because I was watching the lead blocker, and he didn't get the man down, but it was not a clip. So it might have been the split back over there. Now you'll check their metal, John, because they're going 15 the other way. Instead of being 3rd down and 3, they're going to be 2nd down and a whole bunch.
They're just going to have to gather themselves right here and regain their composure and reset their goals on this particular
2nd down and 17
group of downs. They're going to have to come up with they're going to have to get at least half of that yardage this play, and would like to get up to about the 10-yard line if they could. If they could get to the 10, that would make them about 3rd and 6.
Big clipping penalty. Hartman, Heath, the man under. Hayes split to this side. Man in motion to the far side. No play, and we're going the wrong way.
That was developing into a screen over here to the south side of the field.
But the blocking on the weak side didn't stand up.
You bet. And that was a blind side, and offensive line coach is out on the field trying to let them know about it right now. You've got to wall that backside off, because the quarterback's very vulnerable to the backside.
27, Gary Saunders. Saunders, excuse me, Gary's coming in with the play. Gary Saunders, 27 in the play, and he comes split to the far side. You have Hayes split to the far side. Sanders now is split to the near side. Howard in the slot. Lawrence the only back, and this is definitely a pass play. Now, Horn just picked up an important 12 yards, John, and now trouble is it's 4th down, and they got to think about kicking a field goal here.
Yeah, Mike, I said that they really had their heart set on scoring at least twice. It looks like they're going to try to get their field goal out of the way right here, which will pull them within 4 points, and then the next time they come on the field, you can better believe they're going to do their best to get 7. This is a good decision right here, though.
Ricky Armajo, number 1, tried a field goal last week, and that is not who is in there.
Number 14,
David Gray, number 14, who did the extra point a while ago. Need this for momentum, John. No way.
Not going to get there.
No way. 10, 15 yards short. And a penalty and a quarterback trap took the momentum, and let's see what the Warriors are made of, because they still have plenty of time with 10 minutes and 17 seconds. And Mustangs are still on the 19-yard line, are still in the shadow of their goalpost. But that's going to take some of the adrenaline out of you, John.
Sure did. And one of the players that we didn't mention maybe that series was Neil McNamara. I know he was at least in on the field goal attempt, number 63.
I think he came in for the field goal. I believe they're going to call that motion finally, John. They've been doing it all night, and they're going to give a false start on the right-hand side of the line. And, of course, Danny Island must be feeling better, John, because he was the ball carrier, and that leg, they must understand about his leg better than we do.
Well, this is going to be another one of those series that South is going to have to get the ball back with just a little bit over 10 minutes and 12 seconds right now. The clock now is being started. South needs to get the ball back, and they can't wait until the last minute here to start trying to put points on the board. They're going to need to score fairly soon. I don't believe any of these guys are going to have trouble sleeping tonight, Mike.
No, they're going to be right to bed. Okay. Got a slot, man in the motion off the slot. Straight handoff, Chambers, and he's too wide open, John.
Got another flag.
Probably got a holding call.
Yeah, you're going to get one of the
number 82.
80, yeah, 82.
He made a block and then laid on his man, and you can't lay on him.
Call him for holding.
Another flag on the play.
Well, let's congratulate him because we appreciate that play.
Kevin Horn.
That's Paul Blackshear. See, I can do that because this is not going to be televised in Grapevine. Paul Blackshear, senior, number 82. And, Paul, we appreciate it. Yes, we want the penalty, Danny.
Just keep pushing them back. Just a minute ago, we had made mention of the trainers that do such a good job. And I tell you what, you think about the two-a-days and all that these guys go through before the season starts and all the extra work that goes into these practices in trying to prepare for the season. But in going out to those practices, you find 2 or 3 people that are right out there with the players, and normally they're staying an hour or two after the players are already gone home, and that's the trainers. Ted Perry is one of the trainers at South, and a gal by the name of Carrie Eisnagel is the assistant. And they do an outstanding job in trying to keep these guys prepared from week to week, in trying to get them over some little nagging injuries that they get from game to game. And I think anybody that has played a while knows that as you get a little bit older, it takes a little bit longer to recover from each game. And these 2 people really do an outstanding job in helping these guys from week to week in getting over those little nagging injuries.
Well, you know, a lot of times the nagging injuries, right now they won't know they have them. About 3 hours after the game, about half these kids will pull up with soreness because right now the adrenaline's pumping. Tomorrow in the weight room or in the whirlpool, they'll be lined up like it's free popcorn and Cokes trying to get in the whirlpool.
And, of course, the key thing to that is you go out next week with a little bit of a nagging injury. If it causes you to favor a little bit, before you know it, you've got something a little bit more major that's caused from that initial little small injury. And we just can't say enough for what they... I still have a little bit of a problem, though, in getting used to the girls on the sideline in the dressing room, Mike. That's something that you didn't see really too much 20 years ago, but I think I would have liked it just fine.
Well, I can't get used to the fact that everybody has 25 cheerleaders anymore either. Well, we've had a time.